Classic Balayage versus Teasilage. Let's see what happens. This side is going to be open air. This side is going to be foliage.
All right, I'm going to walk you through this. Hey guys, I'm right here, Ryan Whedon. Hey, you can see me. I'm painting on here. When you're using clay, you want to make sure that you start about mid-shaft and then work your way up and down. That way you have more control over the amount of product that you're swiping up. And you see that little strokes right there? I'm swiping up nice and gingerly. That way we get those really beautiful peaks, and I'm cascading it back there so that we get that brightness that's starting at the high point of the head by the face and coming down off the ends. And I use the back of my hand, and I gotta admit, it's been a while since I've done open air, since I do mostly foliage now, but this is one way to do it. You can use a board, you can pull the end down, use the back of your hand with product. So I'm using diagonal backs here. That way I have more blend insurance. What the blend insurance does is it helps us to avoid any kind of lines, because a lived-in look shouldn't have any lines. It's not about lines. It's about looking like you're born with it, especially when you're using clay and doing the classic balayage. It's supposed to be sun-kissed. It's going to have a little bit probably more warmth in it, because you're not going to get even saturation all the way through this section. So here's a horizontal section that I pulled down here, and I'm creating little peaks at the top of the section, little peaks, little valleys behind it, so that we have the depth behind it. The brightness sits in front toward the face. The face is where the focal point is. Lay it down nice and carefully. I honestly did not have any saran wrap. If I had saran wrap, I would definitely use it to separate the sections, insulate some of that heat a little bit more. And right here, I just pulled out some sections to take a look at. I started in the back so that way I could work my way up toward the front. There's different ways to do it. No way is right or wrong. It just helps depending on like what your goal is. My goal was to have a nice bright face frame and something that I could pull back, so I'm working toward that. I have this top section now that I am painting in it, little strokes, little strokes. You can see I keep going back and adding more product as needed, and I just get more and more in the clay. And the clay, when I'm using when you're using clay, you want to have almost a 1-to-1, 1-to-1.5 ratio. That keeps it a little thicker, like a Greek yogurt, I always say, like a chobani. So you have that nice Greek yogurt. That way it sits on the top. If it was too liquefied and drippy, it would go through the section. Now, again, it has been a while. I can see that I'm not super stoked on the back end of these sections. I don't think it's enough to cause a line, but normally I would go back and go ahead and clean that up a little bit with some blending. So in the front here, I'm pulling it back. I'm creating little bits of what where I would imagine highlights to live if I was going to do baby lights or something. But since this is all classic balayage, sun-kissed, I get pretty close to the face. I'm not making it a blanket section, but I do the underside because when she pulls her hair back, it's going to look really nice, especially if it's in a ponytail. Then I pull the section down to more of a mid to low elevation and capture the top of that while keeping the peak by the forehead there, by the money piece area there. And I'll go ahead and work that section down there. Oh God, I'm looking at the underside of that section. I was going fast here. She's not a real client. My whole point here is to show you like what's the difference between balayage and foliage.
This is going to be all Teasilage.
So go easy
here.
on me.
You're going to see the difference.
Okay, talking over myself. All right, so now I'm doing Teasilage here. You got to get a tease. You have to have a paint on a section that looks like that you can see through, but it's not so fine that it's not going to have any impact. It's okay to go into the tease a little bit. I'm just going for big sections here, big slices here. Diagonal back, you can't go wrong. It's going to give you both the benefits of a slight ribbon with also more of a veil over those sections too. So it's going to give you a lot of maximum amount of coverage and also maximum amount of brightness. Now I'm going up, working through the section here, a little section on the top there. I often paint the foil first, so that way it's got a little bit of stick, a little bit of glue. Pop that on there. I'm also starting to paint the underside of the section because this is where I want full saturation. Then I start working it up. I really blanketed the tease there, but it's not going to make any difference, I guarantee you. If I went all the way to the root, that would be weird. But no, it's okay if I get a little bit of the tease. So now I think I'm repositioning. I don't know what I'm doing. I should have cut that part out. But here I am on the top. Okay, now that was Great, thanks for paying attention and thanks for hanging on. All right, I'm an editor. I'm doing all this myself. So and I'm talking here. Okay, so here in the front, I want to make sure I do another very fine section. Work that product up, and then I flick it up, wrist flicking up there, so that I can get a nice, almost like a surface paint there for extra blendability. Blendability. I don't know if it's a word, but it's fine. Look it up and let me know, but I'm going to keep using it anyway. So I'm going to keep working my way back through this section, skipping some hair in between. And the reason I do that is because if I don't skip any hair in between, then that means I'm not skipping any sections. That means I have to do Teasilage over the entire head, and that is exhausting, even on a mannequin. But here I am.
All right, let's see what happens. Here we are. My girl is looking fresh. Look at this. This is the side that was all open air painting. Beautiful, beautiful. This is raw lift. This side looks a little bit cleaner, a little bit more of that uniform lift. And this side, a tad bit warmer, but still not brassy, which is really, really nice. So tell me, which one do you like better? Classic Balayage or the Teasy? Comment below.